A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, a whole lot of stories were told. Seriously, it's hard to keep track of everything in the Star Wars universe. Through films, comic books, TV shows, novels, and much, much more, sorting out what is legend, what is canon, and which stories are told from a certain point of view can be a bit tough. We're here to help you sort through that mess and to stay up to date with what's going on in the galaxy. So sit tight, strap in, grab your favorite co-pilot if you want to, and get ready to make the jump to lightspeed. Ladies, gentlemen, Wookiees of all ages, these are the Holocron Chronicles. Welcome to the Holocron Chronicles. My name is Mark, aka the Canardian, and I'm joined, as always, by my favorite trusty co-pilot, Charlie Carden. Charlie, how you doing tonight?
Pew, pew, pew. I'm good, wearing my swaggin'.
Perfect.
That's right. Go out and get your SFU gear. T-Public, I'll talk about it later. Plug.
Absolutely. Good to see you're doing good. You had a busy day recording, I think, all 3 shows, you said?
Today lined up, I got some plans later in the week. So, yeah, I recorded Code 47 at about 4 o'clock this afternoon. I got on with Todd to record Secret Friends Unite about 6:30. And right now it's 9 o'clock here Eastern Time, and I'm recording this show. So,
wow.
Wipe the slate clean. Whoop! Put a fork in me. I'm done.
That is crazy. You sound, yeah, that's a pretty busy day. I've definitely had a hectic weekend as well. It's Monday night. I'm excited to get going, but you may have heard a couple of chuckles. We have a special guest, a returning guest, and I'm so excited to welcome back Jedi Master Okiro to the show. Okiro, how you doing?
I'm doing great. It's good to be back. I love talking to you guys. Cool. You're like visiting my 2 older brothers I only get to see when I get out of prison.
Yikes!
I'm pretty sure I'd be right in there with you, but it's nice to hear you're excited to come back. So what have you been up to before we get into this? You're still plugging hard on the YouTube stuff. You've been putting out some awesome videos. Still keeping up with. I honestly I don't know how you do that much Twitter content. Like you just come up with so much stuff, and I'm like every time I'm like I don't even know what he's gonna. And you just come up with some like thought provoking question or some new like how do you keep up with everything? Like how I don't even know where you find the ideas. We're like struggling every 2 weeks. We're like, what are we going to talk about this time? And you're like every day you're like pumping out like 12 different new thought provoking things.
Oh, it's easy. I'm insane. That's it. It's not a secret. I'm just insane. 20-something years of Star Wars has rotted my brain. I had my mom reading Heir to the Empire as a kid, so I was done as a kid. My brain was, nope, this is going to be your hyperfixation like your entire life.
I like it, man. That's you know what? Your insanity keeps me motivated to keep checking Twitter. Before, we had you on the show before, so I'm not going to do the whole introduction thing. We'll leave you can plug all your stuff where people can find you at the end. But I have a couple of questions. But before we even get into that, I want to thank you. And I know I said this a little bit in a private message, but I want everyone to know that you're pretty much the reason this show is how it is right now. Is we had like a guest on before you, I think one guest, and that was still very canon focused. So when Charlie and I started this, we were very basically just like canon focused of like, here's a canon update, here's the comic, here's the novel, here's the show, here's this and this and this, what's going on every month, recaps, or every like 2 weeks we were doing kind of like bi-weekly recaps of what the latest comics and this and stuff. And then we said, okay, maybe we'll do bi-weekly, like monthly recaps and then have a guest. And the last little bit, we've been really focusing on guests. But for me, the starting point was having you on and having such an awesome conversation, and then afterwards being like, okay, I think we have to get more Star Wars fans. Like, I think we have to get more of these people who are creating YouTube videos, have Twitter channels, or have Twitter accounts, have TikTok channels like Chloe that we just had on.
Oh, you guys had Chloe on here.
She
Chloe
was
Burrell,
she
yeah.
was really something. Oh yeah.
Not
She's the
Twitter
best.
Chloe. She's different. Twitter Chloe is different.
Oh,
I realized there's two different Chloes because I started talking about Chloe to someone else that we might have on soon, and then realized there's a Twitter Chloe and a TikTok Chloe. So
are you sure they're
we'd
not
love
the
to
same
have-
person? Because Twitter Chloe is on TikTok.
No, not the same because
Oh,
I follow both of them on TikTok now,
too
and it
many
was very
Chloes.
confusing for a second. But the Chloe Burrell, Femren, who is on TikTok that we had on, she does not use Twitter because I was like, aren't you on Twitter? Because I think I said that even during the episode. I was like, aren't you on Twitter? Like, because anyway, two Chloes. We'll have to have the Twitter/TikTok Chloe on, but Chloe Burrell was our last guest. She was awesome.
Oh,
Um,
sweet.
but so that, like, this kind of all for me anyway really kind of snowballed from having you on and having such a great chat. So thanks for changing our show, I think, for the better.
Oh
Hey,
heck yeah, totally.
listen, I appreciate that, but I'm gonna call bull. You guys are doing good because you guys are doing good. It doesn't matter what I said or did when I stumbled into your guys' show. You guys' show is working because you guys put the work in. That's it. Don't
Man,
let
Well,
even yourself say differently. That's you
woo!
too.
I'm gonna get all blushy
I
over here.
I
I'm catching the
appreciate that.
vapors. My goodness.
Yeah, I
That's very
appreciate
kind.
that. It's nice to hear, but mindset wise, it was definitely a shift after we talked to you, and I'm so excited to have you back. But because we already did the introduction last time, and if people missed that one, go back and listen. But because we already found out your Star Wars introduction, your geek kind of origin, this time we're going to play a little game. We're going to play a modified version of like Boff, Marry, Kill, or whatever you want to call this game. Before we started recording, I asked your three favorite Star Wars movies. You gave me Jedi, Empire, and Revenge of the Sith.
Yep.
I'm going to torture you right now a little bit and make you pick one of those that you can watch again indefinitely, one that you can only watch one more time and then you're done, and the other one that you can never ever watch again. What are your three picks?
You're evil. You're an evil man, and I love that. I love evil man. That's great. Uh okay. I guess I would sleep with Revenge of the Sith because Jesus, that's a sexy film. Like George can join in there to make it the ultimate three-way, but yeah, so Revenge of the Sith is definitely the film I'm gonna sleep with if I get the chance to do it.
Okay, so that's the indefinite. You can watch that over and over and over.
You would call Revenge of the Sith like a gentle lover that used to be like, oh, stab, stab, stab. I don't know. You end up with losing 3/4 of your limbs at the end of that movie. I don't know. That's the one night stand that you wake up 3 o'clock in the morning and I don't know, man.
Those are the best type of one night stands. The ones that you have to, if you can have a one night stand and not worry about you're getting shanked, it's a bad one night stand.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah.
You're speaking from a place I'm not coming from, so I have
I'm from New York City. I can get stabbed buying groceries. I can get stabbed buying groceries. This is the way.
What did Dennis Leary have to say about New York
This is
City?
the way.
The scariest place in the world to live because you get poodles falling out, get pushed off a ledge of a 95-story window and come screaming at you, split a guy in half, and you're forever known as the Poodle Man.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, you get used to it. Okay. Okay, so what so the other two options are the other one's Kill, right? I can never watch it again.
Never watch it again, and yeah, one you can watch. So one you can watch indefinitely. One you can only watch once, and one that you got to kill off. So Revenge of the Sith. That's your watch over and over and over.
I got confused. Sorry. I will pick I guess I would have to say prequel fans are gonna stab me in the eyes for this. I would have to say watch once Revenge of the Sith.
Okay, all right. That's your one night stand. Okay,
That's my one night stand.
Yep.
Okay, so what would I kill? Fuck, this is. I would kill Empire Strikes Back because it is a beautiful It is a beautiful, beautiful film, and something that beautiful cannot be allowed to exist.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so I'll have to do
Much
that too. I'm gonna have to come for
Too
you.
too
I'm gonna have to come
beautiful to
for both of
live.
you now. It is too beautiful to live. And the one I can watch over and over and over again is Return of the Jedi because of that sweet ending. Like
all right.
to me, if you like the middle part is extremely important. It's one of the most important parts to a story, but the ending, that's the thing that sticks with you years later, even if you never watch the trilogy again. That's the story you tell your friends, your family about how much you love it. You got Victory Celebration, you got You Were Right, Luke, and then he comes back as sexy Hayden. Like you just can't beat the ending of Return of the Jedi. Like it's such a satisfying ending. I can watch it at any time. I can even deal with the Ewoks, even though I want to barbecue them. It's a perfect ending to a story that had highs, had lows, but it ended perfectly.
Excellent. All right. I like that. I like that. Charlie, do you wanna use the same three, or do you want to answer this as well? Are you
So my question is, do I have to name three films I love, two films I love, and one I hate, and that's the kill, or do I have to name one I
no?
love
Hey,
and
that's
You
that's
know
the
what?
kill?
cheating. Three
Let's
you
use the
love.
same three. Use Jedi, Empire, and Revenge. Let's
Okay,
stick to those same three, and we can pick
okay.
our picks from that.
Well, that's not bad. So Empire, I'm going to F because it's my favorite, and you always want to be Fing your favorite, right? Because
Eh.
always so much more to get out of it. I think I would also kill Revenge because I would kill Revenge because it's kind of a one and done. And then you're right, I would marry Jedi because of that sweet, sweet final moment of closure.
Hmm. All right. I like it.
What
I think
about
I'm
you?
picking the same order. Yeah, I don't. I think I continuously watch Jedi. I think that has to be the answer for that. Um, damn it, these are three good ones. I don't want to. I don't know. I'm gonna have to. I yeah no okay because I don't know. Yeah, no, I'll watch Empire once more, and I'll never watch Sith. But the reasoning for that is because I just watched Revenge of the Sith, so it's fresh, and I still have to watch Empire. So that's what I'm picking. So that ask me again in a week, and that order is going to change. But that was like yeah, I don't know. We'll leave it at that, I guess. Uh, and people can come after us, or if you're listening and you want to, tell us that we're wrong, uh, tweet at us at Secret Friends U, or at @the_Canardian, or at the C3 for Charlie, and tell us, or at Akiro. What's your Twitter handle, Akiro? If
The
you want to
first
drop
Okiro.
the first Okiro, there we go. So yeah, tweet at any one of us. Tell us your correct order and how much we're wrong, and maybe we'll talk about it next time. And after people yell at us, or people agree with one of us, and one of us wins a fabulous prize of 1,000 Holocron bucks,
Oh, nice.
which I just made up. So, so let's continue on with the show. We've all been watching Bad Batch. I literally just finished 30 seconds before we started recording the most recent episode 10. So
So
let's
fresh, so fresh.
very fresh in my mind. So let's recap. I guess maybe a combination of episode 9 and 10, because it's kind of a continuous story. So I don't think we
Right.
really need to do a episode by episode breakdown of these, unless you really want to, Charlie. But
No, that's okay. I'll jump
okay,
in.
all
So
right, yeah. What do you think?
in the Bad Batch, we're streaming into where we left off in episode 8. Omega has been snagged by Cad Bane, and again we're bleeding back into um, dealing with what's going. Are we up to episode 11? Am I doing wrong? Because I put 9 and 10 in here, but then I'm
This
seemingly
might have
remembering.
been 11 and 12.
Yeah,
Okay,
I think
I'll
could
very
be
so.
quickly
11 and
check.
12.
You keep going.
I seem to remember watching a different episode. So I'll talk about episode 10, and then you can drop it in there for episode
Yes,
11.
these were 11 and 12. Sorry.
You know what it is because we didn't do a flow doc for last time, so I got crossed up. Okay, episode 10. This is when the Bad Batch turns into a sidequel. Because we're taking a break. This episode, in almost in its entirety, took a break from our regular characters. So we find ourselves on the planet of Hirasandula, which is, help me, the
Ryloth.
Twi'lek people. Is Ryloth. Thank you very much. Very pivotal in the Clone Wars. Cham Syndulla is a character that I know we dealt with in Rebels. I'm trying to remember if we got him in the Clone Wars as well. I feel like we did.
I can't
Anybody
remember.
rob my memory here? But at any rate, it bookends in the fact that his daughter is Hirasandula, which is obviously one of the core characters in Rebels. And this is a story about how that world is playing to transition within. We're now weeks or months at the end of episode 3, and when the Clone Wars ends, and Order 66, and we've got our main Heavy, who is our Imperial officer. What's the dude's name? It's something kind of like the name of our
Your
main
guess is wait, the main rebel or the main Imperial?
no, the main Imperial. Lieutenant.
Oh, Lieutenant Douchebag.
Yeah, Lieutenant
Close enough for me.
Douchebaggery. Hey, he's getting his own action figure, and I love reading this. That Alexander Siddig, who was Dr. Bashir on DS9, I'm a huge Star Trek guy, was one of the characters in this. But what you're seeing is kind of a planned transition of power, and then you have Senator Orrin Freeta, who's big fat ass Twi'lek, who you see, and you see him in, I think, in episodes 2 and 3. Basically as the Imperial crony, and you're looking, exactly. So you're looking for the senator, who's Alexander Siddig, to basically make this puppet speech. Yeah, the Empire's great, and yada yada yada. And he steps up and he says, "The Empire sucks, and we got to keep fighting." And then they immediately squirrel him away. And Cham Syndulla's like, we're not going down like this. We're not going from being, under the heel of the Republic and fighting the Separatists, and now having the Empire, which is even worse. We're going to keep our stuff going, because the Empire says immediately surrender all your weapons, because obviously if they're going to be locked down, they're not going to want them to have to be armed. And so what happens is they immediately contact Rhea Perlman's character, who sends in the Bad Batch. Now, then again, it happens off screen. So again, you're keeping the primary focus on the characters, basically the rebel character. We'll call them the rebel characters there on Ryloth, and the Bad Batch zoops in, and then they zoop out again. So you've got a tonal shift where you're not just telling yet another story of the Bad Batch, which I know we've kind of talked in episodes recently that has really become very repetitive. It's kind of like Mission of the Week. It feels like The Mandalorian, but with a less cute kid. So,
Hey, that's Omega. Hey, that's Omega slander. I love that kid. I want to adopt that little albino. I want to adopt that albino.
But are you going to put her against Grogu, Baby Yoda?
I will toss Grogu into the fire for Omega. I will eat Grogu. I don't care what Yoda says. He didn't pay child support. I will eat Grogu.
Ouch! That's stone cold. But you know what?
Yeah, listen.
Why am I picturing Super Mario in the Super Mario 64 dropping the little baby penguin off of the side of the mountain?
But, listen, he ate the eggs. I eat him.
You say pay child support. Who's paying child support on 100,000 clones? Well, Django's dead, so who's stuck with that bill?
Hey, listen. He was a supportive. Django was a supportive father. He was there for them, and then he got his head chopped off by Samuel L. Jackson. That is the way to go. That's how I want to die. I just want to walk out of my apartment and get decapitated by Samuel L. Jackson riding a Segway.
Only by him, though.
Specifically only by him.
That is the most New York death I think I've ever heard described. So I'm with you.
No one will blink an eye either. They're like, oh shit.
Right back into the bodega. Hey, look, I've seen In the Heights. I know what it's like. Everybody's dancing in the streets. There's people on the walls. I get it. But at any rate, I found this episode to be a very welcome break from the things that I was not enjoying about the pattern we fell into. So this was cool. I love Rebels. I love the Hera character. So let the naysayers, kind of pound sand on this, because I think that this was really well done. I liked it.
Oh, don't get me started on the naysayers. I'll start dragging them. I'm getting a little frustrated with the whole fan service is bad. Cameos, like, it's not fan service or cameos if they serve a point to the story. Like, a cameo is George Lucas appearing in Star Wars and as like purple body paint. That's a cameo. Jar Jar Binks with George Lucas's daughter in Attack of the Clones behind the bar. That's a cameo. But Hera's not a cameo. She's part of the world. She's a meaningful character. Ugh, don't,
Absolutely.
I'll start
So what?
ranting. I can't.
No, start ranting. What did you think about this episode?
I mean, I was happy with the change up of the formula just because I agree. I was getting a little mission, character development, mission, character development. I'm like, okay, let's just throw some paprika in there and like spice up the dinner. And that's what we got. We got to see a different perspective, and I dug that. For one, a little evolution on the clone troopers. Like, oh wait, so if you're not a Jedi, you're not going to get clapped. They still have the morality. You get to
Hmm.
see the world building of like the transition between the Clone Wars and the Empire, and people just didn't roll over and spread it. They wanted to fight, and I'm digging that. I
Hmm.
like that we got to see a different perspective because I think people forgot like yeah, the Clone Wars was about the Clone Wars, and yeah, the Bad Batch is about the Bad Batch, but it's also about the galaxy. It's not just about the title characters being important and everyone else doesn't matter. This show is showing that it doesn't matter if you're a civilian, a clone trooper, or if you're a title characters, your suffering, your pain, that matters. And I dig that. I like that. It's something I like to see in Star Wars. Show me that everyone matters and not just, the dude I recognize who has main character syndrome.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. I agree. And kind of, like I said, putting both of these episodes together, I liked seeing that broad picture of here's a planet that they thought the Empire was doing some good. There's some people that maybe thinks now the Empire is getting too much control. And you see that. But like you said, you see that also in the clones who there are some that are, good soldiers follow orders, and there are some that are like, this is kind of becoming some bullshit. And to me, that's super interesting because it's showing even when they're all identical clones, it might not be just the Bad Batch that has malfunctioning chips, or maybe there's some degrees of how strong your chips affecting you as a clone. Uh, you said it perfectly. It's not just once the Jedi are wiped out. Like, what are the orders, and what do you have to follow? And is there something there that we can see? And we know by the time that the Empire is really in power by episode 4, most of the clones are worked out of the army.
Yeah.
So are we seeing the kind of the groundwork laid out for that of here's how the clones were replaced and here's why they were replaced? Because really Order 66 only had, like, those chips only had to work for a short period of time. So after whatever, a year or a few months or something, that's when the Inquisitors come in. That's when Darth Vader's hunting down the remaining Jedi. So Order 66 obviously didn't have to have a long burn. So
No.
how long are these clones going to follow orders, and how long are they basically going to be useful? So that's to me is the interesting thing to see here. Of even in the last episode was Crosshair was saying arrest them, and it was like half and half. Like half the troops laid down their guns, and half the troops were like, "No, we're going to arrest you guys." And that to me, that was a super interesting point of like, "Ooh, I just let's just follow clones for the rest of this." Like, sure, it's called the Bad Batch. Fine, have them peppered in throughout it, but like for me, that's the interesting turning point of like, where the hell did this start to go wrong for the clones? Like, we saw in the early parts of this series that they were still balancing between, do we want to start stealing kids and recruiting people, or do we want to continue on with these clones? Obviously, we kind of know the outcome, but I think it's really, really interesting to see how we got to that point. So, yeah, I'm liking where this is going. We have, what, 4 episodes left?
Yeah, it caps at 16. Well, no, the caps at 16, so I think we have 5 with the one that comes out on Friday, because the next episode is episode 11.
No,
Huh.
this was 11 and 12.
Oh, we just talked about 10.
No.
Oh, see, you were talking about episode 10. He was talking about episode 11.
Oh, then let's move on to 12. Oh my God. Okay, I'm way behind. You go right ahead. No, because
So
that's
no,
what I
we
put.
covered 10 last time. 10 was where Omega plays space
You're
chess
absolutely
and
right.
clears their
Okay.
debt. And 11 and 12 were basically the two-parter for Ryloth.
then don't listen to a damn thing that I have to say.
I
Okay,
think we were
That is
talking
so
about
not true.
we're all talking about the right stuff, just the numbers are wrong.
we got the right stuff, baby.
There we go. Yes, exactly. So
Okay.
11 and 12, so four
Woo!
episodes left. I think we're all on the
4
same
episodes
page now.
left.
So
All
we
right,
like where
cool.
it's going. Where do you think it's going, Okiro?
Knowing Dave Filoni, that cowboy hat wearing, orange, alien loving psychopath, he's gonna make us all depressed because that's what he does good. He wakes up every day and says, it's been a couple months since I've made Star Wars fans cry. Who am I gonna kill? Who am I gonna. Oh, Wrecker. Nice. Everyone loves Wrecker. I'm gonna kill him bad. Yeah, no, it's gonna. We've never seen any of these characters in Rebels, and we know that by the time Rebels happened, Hera suffered like a lot of tragedies at that point. So I think it's a safe bet. We're just gonna watch however long this show goes, each Bad Batch clone just die one by one by one as Filoni giggles in the background as we all cry tears of blood at the screen. So that's my prediction.
I kind of said something the same on the same lines last time, which was I think I'm hoping with Omega being basically the exact same kind of clone as Boba Fett. I'm hoping that. Oop, just punched my microphone. I'm hoping that she shows up in the Boba Fett show. And we haven't seen her because maybe she's off doing some crazy rebel shit or she's off doing some mercenary stuff and they just kind of disconnect from everyone. But I kind of predicted back then that she might be, if we're lucky, with one of these clones, whether it's Hunter, Wrecker, or one of the others. And that'd be about it. So I am kind of in agreement with you that most likely we're going to see most of these guys kind of wiped off. And that's why they weren't in Rebels or anything else. But I'm hoping that they have some kind of big comeback for the Boba Fett show. I think that'd be awesome. What about you, Charlie? Where are you thinking this is going to go?
Yeah, I mean, the only problem with anything related to prequels is that you're left with well, why didn't we ever see this and that? And why, Star Trek kind of runs into the same thing. Like, it's that way with Star Trek Discovery, which is one of the main shows. It was set right before the original series. So it's like, why didn't we ever see this thing or that thing? Or why didn't this character ever show up again? And so they had to do something drastic by taking that show at the end of its second season and jumping it 1,000 years into the future. And then the people left behind said, well, because of the sensitive nature of everything that happened, it's completely classified. No one will ever speak about it again under penalty of death, blah, blah, blah. Well, that makes perfect sense in a way. What makes perfect sense in the Star Wars fashion, where people seem to die at the drop of a hat, is that everybody gets wiped out. Rogue One, great example. Awesome story. Absolutely everybody dies. That's why you never hear about them ever again. And that really fit the story because it's wartime, it's sacrifice, it's this thing, it's that thing. So yeah, I'm 100% an advocate of the fact that absolutely everybody will be dead.
Nice depression.
Yes, it's going to be
Can't
Rogue
wait.
One all over
We've got,
again.
yeah, a month left before we're all clinically depressed.
Oh, that's
Which
Why
great. I
not?
missed it. I missed it. So
Is there
much.
anything in Star Wars that doesn't really bum you out? It's really all about death and suffering.
Yeah.
Babu
And
Frick does not bum me out. I love that
There we go.
little demonic spider monkey.
nothing bad happens to him at the end. Where with Grogu, he leaves his adoptive father, and I watched that on Father's Day. That's become one of the Father's Day
Oh
things, and I'm all,
damn.
I'm crying 6 ways till Sunday. You know what I mean? It's very very emotional to any
Mhm.
father who has kids in particular. So
I
Yep.
mean, it's okay. Din went to go be on The Last of Us, and Grogu's gonna be on the Luke spinoff. Maybe we'll get one day with
Don't
Sebastian Stan.
don't even give me hope. Don't give me that.
Oh wow, he went full
That'd be too
Hawkeye
good.
on me.
That'd be too good. Holy. So that's where we want the Bad Batch to go. But Akira, you pitched something great when we were talking about what we were going to talk about today, and that is where do you want Star Wars to go in general? Where's the future of this franchise going? And it's not just the continuation of story. You kind of wanted to cover get a bit more into the nitty gritty kind of stuff, right? Like exactly kind of the overall tone of the next movies, shows. So let's start with you, Akira. Where do you want Star Wars to go? Are you focused mostly on movies? Do you want these series to kind of continue to flesh out things in between? What's your overall take on where it should go and how it should go down?
I mean, from what I want production wise, like I'm personally digging the show because I feel like it's more than what we usually get out of characters. We get to feel their motivations, their backstories, and it's something that I think all the movies have struggled with. No matter how much we all love them, there's always at least one movie we're like, oh, I wish I got more of this. I wish I got more of that. And like, well, maybe the series will pick it up. And I'm like, what happens if we just start with the series first? And like, we use the films to build towards events. Like, The Mandalorian, perfect example. Like, we got so much from that show that the third season can just go everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone keeps saying, let's get a Finn show or let's get a Kira show. Please, let's get a Kira show. I love Amelia Clark. I'm the big okay. I gotta stop. I will start simping for her instead of talking. But you can go literally anywhere with Star Wars, and I kind of just want to explore the consequences of where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the sequel trilogy timeline, New Republic gone, First Order gone, the Resistance. They are not politicians. They're a bunch of very diverse looking CW models. So like where are we gonna go with that timeline? Who's gonna vie for power now? Is it gonna be Thrawn's people? Is it gonna be the Mandalorians? Are we gonna have the Hutts come back and say, hey, you know what? We're taking over the galaxy.
Gabagoo. Sorry. Couldn't help it. Couldn't help it. It fit the bill. It fit the bill. It fit in. It worked for me.
So something like that, or even like if we want to jump way before the whole Skywalker saga, what were things like before the Jedi and the Sith when people were just discovering the Force? What were the rules there?
Ooh, way back.
Yeah, when there was no, okay, I'm Jedi, you're Sith, and we're gonna smack our glow sticks with each other for like a couple 90, 100 something years. Like, let's see what gets explored there. Just let's go to I don't want to see more stormtroopers. Okay, I'm just putting it out there. After we get the whole whatever makes Solo 2 happen, if that happens, or the Kira spinoff or the Finn spinoff, whatever. No more stormtroopers. I never want to see those white clad, I can't aim for shit guys again. I'm done with them. No more Empire, no more stormtroopers. Let's get something different. I know everyone likes reusing the same props, but let's get crazy. No more ragtag bunch of rebels and fighters mixed with big Empire. Let's start fighting on some even ground.
Mm-hmm.
I love that about the prequel trilogy because we don't get stormtroopers. We don't get this ragtag bunch of rebels. We have the Republic and the Jedi versus the Separatists and the Sith, and that made the conflict bigger, different. So that's kind of what I personally want to see from Star Wars going forward. Something different, but also working off the consequences of what we've seen so far.
Nice.
Right.
To that end, I'd like to jump in for a second. I'm going to put a little timestamp here so I can warn people because I'm going to get into some slight Loki spoilers. So if you want to skip ahead, I'll add these in the show notes, and you can skip ahead to when I'm done with these spoilers. So this is your out mark. I'll give you a couple of seconds to skip ahead.
This is controversial because it's funny. And today was my day to record all three of the shows I'm on. Last one I was on with Todd, and we did a total breakdown of Loki. So I'm real curious to see how you're gonna loop these things in together. So I am. Hold on. Let me move over to the edge of my seat. Here we go.
There we go. Okay. Well, basically, I'm kind of bouncing off what Okiro just said, but this is something I've been thinking about for a while, especially since reading the High Republic stuff and seeing who they're facing. And again, it's not stormtroopers. It's something different. It's the Nihil, and the comics are getting into what was the creature, the dark creature underneath the planet that was like all Sith energy. Basically, it was just badness that took over a few Jedi.
I know it, but it was the Nihil, or was that the name of the planet?
No, the Nihil are the space Viking kind of bad guys in the novel and stuff.
Right.
So
Okay.
So we've got a couple of different things there, but what I'm thinking, and the reason I said Loki spoilers, is even if this is in the future, so if this happens exactly after episode 9, it's episode 10, you've got Finn and Rey as Jedi, they're training a new group or whatever you want to do it, or maybe they've gone off in separate directions and Finn's leading ex-stormtrooper army and Rey's gone trying to get knowledge of the Force or whatever. However you want to spin that, I'm wondering if the Emperor going away and the First Order going away, if like in Loki, when you got rid of He Who Remains, do you unleash something worse? Was he the lesser of two evils? Was the Emperor keeping something else in check that was scared of the Emperor, but is now like, you know what? Screw it. We've got a couple of young little Jedi and the remaining rebels. I'm gonna take some shit over and I'm gonna go crazier than, at least the Emperor just wanted power. He wanted all to himself. He wanted to control everything, but at least he had some kind of control. So what kind of crazy shit can you unleash, like Kang the Conqueror and all the variant things that cause the timeline to go bananas in Loki? What can you unleash in Star Wars that's worse than the Emperor? And that's what I want to see. And I don't know the answer for that yet. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure that there's someone out there that is hopefully working on this stuff. And I'm hoping that's the direction that they go, is what's worse, whether it's some sort of, maybe it's leagues of bounty hunters and they're all, or the Huts versus other crime syndicates, and maybe it's just a free for all of when the cat's dead, all the rats are going to come out, and maybe it's just a whole bunch of rats, and you're trying to find the Rat King, which sounds way worse than a cat being in charge.
I
So
think you actually have a point, though. I think that's what it is heading to, because there's no one left. Like, all jokes aside, who is going to say you guys can't do that for the last over 100 years? So before the prequel trilogy, the Republic was in power. After the prequel trilogy, it was the Empire, and after the Empire, it was the New Republic. For the first time in hundreds upon hundreds of years, there is no central government, no central power, no Jedi, and well, like one and a half Jedi, and like no Sith.
that's it.
So there is literally. So what were you going to say? Hey guys, please don't do that. And you gotta remember. And you gotta remember, the Republic and the Resistance didn't win the war. The people did. The people says, okay, these guys have been fucking up for a year. JJ just called us. We need to end this conflict. The trilogy's over.
JJ just called us. He did. Yeah.
But
It
yeah,
was
that's
a,
it.
it was a huge conference call.
It was. He's like, listen, guys, I'll give you some lens flares if you like help the Resistance out.
That's
But
so yeah.
Give you
What's
some lens
left?
there.
nothing. No one's left. There is no faction. There is no Republic or First Order. So that means you have the Mandalorians, who have always wanted the Republic. That's canon and legend.
Mm-hmm.
You have the Chiss Academy, who have never liked the Empire. You have the Huts. You have the Assassins. You have the Bounty Hunters. You have an entire galaxy worth of factions. And you just have the common people who are like, hey, listen, the New Republic, you guys didn't help us. Look at Jakku. Look at all the kidnapped stormtroopers. The separatists, they didn't help us. The Empire didn't help us. Why are we going to fall back in line to this? We're just going to govern ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We'll fall back in government. How about not? You step on our planet, we're going to shoot you. It's just a bunch of independent planets that don't want to be ruled. A bunch of criminal factions that say, listen, it's free game, it's free real estate, and some big military factions that were sitting out the sequel trilogy who are going to be like, okay, let's see what happens.
To be perfectly honest with you, what you're describing, I was talking about Star Trek Discovery a little while ago, jumping forward 1,000 years. You're describing almost exactly what happened in that show. In between the just prior to the original series time, and then jumping forward 1,000 years, so it was the year 2258. And again, it's our Earth calendar, so think about the year 2258. Jumping forward to the year 3189. And if you want to hear about this, we just did a great breakdown of this season on Code 47 over the last two episodes. So tune in, you can get all filled in. But it was exactly the same. About 3/4 of the way through that 1,000 years, so we'll say it's 200 years prior to the events of what's happening in season 3 of Discovery, there was a catastrophic galaxy-wide ecological disaster called the Burn. Which is revealed throughout the course of the season. But what happened is dilithium is the matter that powers every ship out there, and something happened that made almost all of it detonate. It destroyed all of the Federation, which is the governing body, all of Starfleet, which is their military arm, and resulted in a completely fractured quadrant or galaxy. So Earth itself left the Federation, which is Earth is the Federation because it's humans, and the Federation itself set up in this weird little cloaked dome or whatever, and they were all disconnected from everybody, and huge criminal organizations formed all around the place, and the biggest of one of which was the focus of the season. And then Discovery, the ship from the past, arrives, and not surprisingly, our heroes find a way to solve everything and kind of put everything back together again. What you're describing, very much like that. I would love to see a Star Wars take on that, because that season 3 of Discovery, and I really disagree with my Code 47 co-hosts on this. They're like, well, it wasn't as good as season 2. I thought it was amazing. It was a huge breakthrough for the franchise. This is where it becomes somewhat relevant to talking about this. It was a huge breakthrough for the franchise to strip away everything that made it very samey. So in Star Wars, it would be the Skywalker saga and the Jedi and the Sith and the this and that. Jump it forward the 30 years post sequel trilogy, and you're right, like, we're going to start a new republic now, and a bunch of independent systems are going to be like, well, fuck you, why do we want to do it? We don't need your shit. We rose
Exactly.
up, we crushed this final order, f them, the emperor and all of his, red planet exogoth stuff, just all. And I did watch the movie again recently thinking about this, all came crashing to the ground. We're badass, we don't need anybody, we don't need a government. Basically, your government, for the second time in 100 years, incited a superpower that wiped you out. We don't want anything to do with you. We're going to do our own shit. They're gone now. That's great. We're all set. We're good. We don't need you at all. And then, yeah, you're right. What does that lawlessness look like? So the Hutt cartel just expounds with, Black Sun just expounds because there are no checks and balances.
Mhm.
No.
So, and there's no Jedi Order to keep that in check, which is, of course, what the Old Republic was about, or the High Republic was all about, was keeping that, keeping checks and balances. So, what does that look like? Is it kind of like with the Mandalorian, where you had the Rangers of the New Republic, which is no longer a thing, thanks to Cara
Nope.
Dune. Thanks to, yeah. So yeah, without any checks and balances, does it just kind of become like the post-burn United Federation of Planets, where there's just, we have this big footprint, now we got this little baby footprint, and everything that's going on out there. The issue in the Star Trek piece is they couldn't travel, they couldn't enforce the law, they couldn't have order. So the opposite of the Star Trek piece, or the Star Wars piece, is that they maybe they could have order because it's not a technological issue, but maybe
Mm.
order is not desired or required, because it was ultimately decided that a big government is like, well, all big government has done for us in the last 100 years is get billions of people killed in 2 huge wars. So bye,
There,
Felicia, we're out.
there's another piece to this too that just popped into my head is where's the balance in the Force? Because
Right.
if the Sith are wiped out, then there's no more balance. So who's filling that void from the Force side of things? So far, we've been talking about the government side of things, but if the Force has just suddenly shifted way too far to the light, what kind of where what is filling that dark side thing? Is it the Night Sisters coming back, or is it a different faction? So that could be kind of interesting to explore too. Is we know there are different Force users in the galaxy, so can we see some of those come in and say, the Jedi have screwed up? We're going to show you how to do the light side of things the right way, or is it going to be kind of more gray, or is there going to be some kind of darkness coming up to meet Rey's light, which could be interesting.
See, that is a funny question because what is balance in the Disney Star Wars canon? They haven't talked about that. George said what was balance in the Legends canon. Well, the George canon. I don't know. We all know George had a love-hate relationship with Legends, but he called balance the destruction of the Sith because he cited the Sith as a corruption.
Hmm.
But the Last Jedi cites the balance as, oh, darkness rises, light to meet it, and well, Palpatine was dark. He rose after Snoke died, so who's going to meet Rey? And it's actually a good point I never really thought about. What about all the other little Force factions that have been just chilling? trying
Hmm.
to stay away from the Empire and trying to stay out of the New Republic's hair. What's going to happen
That's
with
it.
all of that? And
And that's the
Ray's
only ones we know. Like we know the Bendu from Rebels and the Night Sisters, and we've seen these in canon other factions, and like you said, a lot of them just avoid this conflict. They avoid the Empire, they avoid this and that. But with everything gone, what role are they going to play? Are they still going to be, you know what, we still kind of want to be left alone? Or are they going to be like, you guys are screwing up the Force? Especially if there's a faction that's really tuned in to that balance side, depending on where they want to go with the balance. But if there's a faction that's really tuned into that, are they going to come out and say, like, you guys need to be governed? Force users need to be governed by Force users because you guys are just screwing everything up. This
or
whole light dark Jedi Sith thing needs to stop. You guys are causing some big karmic Force disaster pieces.
what
And
happens if it's the reverse?
uh, yeah.
What happens if they're like, hey, listen, Jedi screwed up, Sith screwed up. You keep training Skywalkers to go crazy, and now this random there's a third Skywalker. Where'd she come from? She
Yeah,
went she
right.
went to Tatooine, and now her name is Skywalker.
She's from the adopted side of the family. She's from the other side, the southern track, the other side of the tracks. Yeah.
Oh no, it doesn't even work like that. You put the name Skywalker, somehow you just came out of Luke's balls. So like, nope, she's related to Anakin too now. But the point is, you
Oh,
might have people look at the Jedi and the Sith and say, "Hey, listen, thanks for killing Palpatine. I mean, it's technically your fault. He almost killed us, but yeah, no more Jedi, no more Sith. We're gonna bring back Order 66, but the right way. We're gonna no more. Because think about it,
the
it's
right way.
it's always the Jedi and the Sith, and if you're looking at people who are paranoid, who just suffered like what 60 years of war,
Yeah,
just 60 years of
60,
war,
75 years. Yeah, exactly.
about 75 years of war thanks to the Sith and the Jedi. If I'm a normal civilian and I'm afraid, I just got rid of the old race, and I'm gonna be like, yeah, so we're just going to kill all these Force users now because we're done. We're done with space wizards. We can handle military people. We just handled a fleet, but we can't handle space grandpa somehow coming back again to blow up the sky a second time. Like,
Mhm.
nope, we're gonna kill the Skywalker. We're gonna kill any Palpatines. No more Force users. No more Jedi temples. Because that's how people react when they're afraid. I mean, look what Palpatine did in after Revenge of the Sith, and he was lying. But like, how do you reason bringing back the Jedi after, well, Luke tried to do it, and then his own nephew went crazy, and then he just dipped on everyone, and then
Mhm.
you have Rey. She just likes to dip whenever she goes through emotional stress. So I'm like, if I was the people, I would be like, yeah, let's just shoot these guys and try to work it ourselves. I don't
Right.
want
So
that
yeah,
because I like them, but
what do we need them for? Because it
Yeah.
always just seems to be a calamity. So yeah, if you were to put a pin in it and to really emphasize what that's going to look like, it's not really going to look that good for wielders of the Force because all they tend to do is come in and wreck shop. There's no happy medium. They don't
So
really they add a whole lot less than they give.
so
yeah,
basically all we want is a series on Disney Plus that's Star Wars meets the boys.
yes,
That's that's all
Yes,
I'm hearing.
and I just want it to be the cast from The Boys. So I do. I
That's
want to see Carl
exactly.
Urban and Jack
Exactly.
Quaid, and yeah. Oh my God, do I love that show? Can't wait for the next season.
oh,
For
I love that
sure.
show too. My favorite Karen is in that show.
Oh, who? Which one?
Karen Fujika. She plays the Asian woman with the sign language.
Hmm.
She's the mute. She doesn't speak. She beat up the Nazi chick in the series in the season finale.
Why am I drawing? Oh, yeah. Okay, gotcha. Oh God, that show. Now I want to go back and watch that show. Thanks a lot. And it's nice. Shows like that are bite sized, so they're easy to rewatch them. So
Mhm.
yeah, I'm totally all about it. Oh,
Well, Star
crazy.
Wars can really go anywhere. Is there anything you guys want to add that we didn't touch on before we start wrapping up?
No, I
Uh,
like it. I think it. I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
there's just one little thing that's been bothering me. Just this whole thing about characters appearing in other shows and people calling that fan service and taking away from everything. Like when we saw Hera and Chop appear in the Bad Batch, I started seeing that complaint all the time. Like, oh, it's just a cameos, fan service, fan service. Meanwhile, the whole episode is very meaningful to Hera. We get to meet her parents. We get to see her dream of being free. And of course, whenever I hear Leia's theme music, it just hits me right in the feel. So like, they're
Yeah.
not cameos; they're meaningful characters popping up in a meaningful, relevant story. And now
Exactly.
that we're going into Obi-Wan, I'm starting to hear that argument a lot more about all the casting
hmm
announcements.
hmm
Mm.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, just let it be. Let it be a story for God's sakes.
Yeah.
And honestly, for hardcore Star Wars fans, people like us that make videos or podcasts or whatever, yes, sometimes certain cameos or appearances can feel a little bit shoehorned. But when you have to remember that when we're watching this and we're like, oh, they had to throw that person in there because they showed up on a cereal box once that George Lucas signed, and now they're, they have to be in a TV show. Like that kind of stuff, it can feel a little contrived. But for 99% of the people who are subscribing to Disney Plus and just watching it, like they're sitting there with the like Captain America meme of like, I understood that reference because they see someone that they're like, I had a fucking toy about that one, of that person when in 1992. And it's like, cool. I get to see that in a cartoon I'm watching with my kid or whatever.
Right.
So to me, it just like, if you can put those people in there to get some Joe Schmo off the street to watch this show, then cool. That's, I don't know. It can be good and bad, whether it's the most contrived like little cameo or like these ones, it actually means something to the story. And I don't get the complaints
Right.
about this at all. But like, I don't know. I think they all kind of have their purpose, whatever that purpose is, whether it's for super hardcore fans or just someone that's like, yeah, I recognize Jar Jar. Like, it doesn't really matter.
I gotcha. Totally.
Preach, 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 preach.
Word. Oh man.
Yeah,
So is that a wrap? Are we good?
I think so. I think that's but you know what, before we go, I just noticed something on Twitter that both Star Wars Squadrons and Jedi Fallen Order are on sale on Xbox this week. So if you're listening to this, I think they're going to be on sale for the whole week. And if you want to see some more Hera, Star Wars Squadron's the place to do it. And if you just want a great Jedi story, Fallen Order is the one for you. So check those out if you haven't already. Akira.
I know that's your jam. That's your clone there, the Cameron Monaghan. That's your boy.
That's it. You gotta love that the Ginger Jedi for sure. Akiro, thank you again so much for joining us. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. We love having you on the show. This will definitely not be the last time. But if anyone missed the first episode and they're curious where to find you, where can they find you on the internet?
Okay, you can probably find me on YouTube, The First Akiro, Twitter, The First Akiro, assholes.com. You'll definitely find me there. Like anywhere where bad Star Wars takes are, you'll find me.
Perfect, man. Yeah, like I said, you have one of the best Star Wars Twitter accounts. Your YouTube videos are always fantastically well done. Thanks again for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me. You guys are great. I love talking to you, and Jesus, you guys deserve much more attention. Underrated as hell. I'm gonna try not to go
That's
R-rated
okay.
here.
You know what?
It's
It's Todd who says, "Oh, kids listen to our show," and kids don't listen to our show. So
right.
yeah, do what you got to. Just keep it within track. So I'll do my bit. Friends, thank you as always for joining us. This wonderful program is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network comprising of this wonderful show, which comes out bi-weekly. Code 47 is my Star Trek show that comes out every Monday. Co-op mode comes out opposite to this program on the other Wednesday. That is Mark and my friend Todd talking about video games, which is not my bag. And every Friday since 2014, Todd Oxtra and myself giving you your guide to the geek side, Secret Friends Unite classic, as it were, your smorgasbord of all things pop culture. So our awesome website is home to all of our podcasts, great original content, and etc. secretfriendsunite.com. Pop on over there and check us out. You can also subscribe to all of our shows on the podcasting network or podcasting service of your choosing. Please like, rate, and help us push the show forward. You can find us over on Twitter at Secret Friends U. We would love to hear what you're thinking about any of the things that we talk about. Mark, your Twitter handle is
At @the_Canardian.
right, and you can find me at _CEE_3, the word. and hit us up. Let us know how you're doing and things that we can talk about on the program. Finally, we are over on TeePublic. All kinds of fun merch ranging from t-shirts, magnets, buttons, stickers, etc. All of that supports our fine program and our ability to bring you fun content. So we do appreciate you showing your Secret Friends Unite love. That's it for me. Thank you again for joining us. I'm going to tell you, as always, that sharing is caring, and to keep on trucking.
May the force be with you. Rex, play us out.